Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's talk about Kamadhenu, the native Indian cow which is known to have arisen from churning of ocean or Sagar Manthan or Samudra Manthan. What is the importance? Let us discuss. But before going to that, I want to bring one misconception which has been there with all the languages of the world. Yesterday I did put one video on Kapil Vriksh, and in that particular video I had not put A. Instead of K-A, I have put K-P-I-A-L-A and Vriksh. And one of my very favorite students brought it to my notice that I have missed A. Then when I looked at it, I felt that I was wrong. But today I am made to understand that K-A is defective, K-P-L is better because it's not Kapil, it's Kapil. Ka is single, not Ka. And I think I would go by K-P. That's it. Anyway, all the languages of the world, whether it's Sanskrit, Tamil, English, German, or any other language, all the graphic presentations of the language media are inaccurate, inadequate, and ambiguous. That is one of the reasons what I'm trying to convert everything into mathematical design to start with, and second thing, to convert into graphic presentation which is uniform, which does not need any word as such. Maybe that is something, and since we have to use the language, whether it's the British English or American English, Indian English or the world English or other languages. Unfortunately, that is the medium because that's the only way we can communicate to the world as we know. So using this kind of language, there are going to be certain corrections which I think when is brought to my notice, I will make it very clear. But more or less what I'm trying to do, with due respect and apologies, to be accepted, that is my way of experiencing, not copying of somebody else. And with the due respect, I have been saying very clearly, I am from India and I am from Jammu by and large, a Dogra by birth. Having lived in Chennai, I am trying to understand things but still being close to my own inner consciousness. What I experience within me is what I try to say. I am not copying something else. I am not trying to imitate anything. That is one concept which I want everybody to understand, that my desire is to talk of the mantras as I experience, not something which for that matter. Shunya. I say Shu as such, and I feel when I say Shunya, I am close to the zero, I am conveys to the universe. But if I write SU, I don't think I feel one with universal consciousness. Similarly, I am not finding fault with somebody writing SUNYA or SUYNA. Shunya, SHUNYA to me is much closer as I experience than SUNYA. Like there are so many words, even in Sanskrit translations, you see different people. Since there is a deficiency in every language, I am only trying to say what I think can put it in English, whichever form it is, the way it is, but my expression is to be taken note of, and that is what Shruti is. When I say Om, it is not O-M, it is A-U-M Turiya, because that's how I experience the one within me and within the universe, and that is what 22/7 is all about. Similarly, all the other mantras, to my understanding, I am not copying somebody else. I am just trying to see how my Antaratma gives it to me and then show to the world, this is my expression. It could be different from other people. I am not going to stand in judgment. This is an expression of my own experience. Let it be. This is something which I felt I should put it across before moving on to Kamadhenu, because Kamadhenu is the next one after Kapil Vriksha. That is a Vriksh which brought methane from up along with oxygen down as carbon dioxide and water, and carbon dioxide and water gave birth to the plant kingdom, and plant kingdom produced the grass which cow ate and gave methane to the world, and then how methane along with oxygen was converted into carbon dioxide and water, and that is a process which I think is the second compared to Kapil Briksha, and Kapil Briksha is next to water itself. So first thing is water, second is methane. But Kapil Briksha, methane to conversion to carbon dioxide atmosphere as such around the earth, and how carbon dioxide of earth was converted into oxygen 21% and methane 78%, I've already explained as the first process. But having gone to plant kingdom, the next stage, and this plant kingdom produces grass for the native cow, and when native cow takes that grass and eats it after digestion, it gives a cow dung which produces 61.803% methane. And how methane can be used, form as an application as a fuel for the earth, and how it has been used earlier, how it can be used today, how it can be used at later too. That is the main concept which I am going to talk about it as a Kamadhenu after Kapil Vriksha. And then before that, Amrit. Let's move on. Now, as I told you, this land belongs to Bharat, Akhand Bharat or Akhand Sindhu, which is surrounded by water of Sindhu river as such. East, Mount Kailash, Mansarovar, water. Then north, Sindhu river. West, Sindhu, Sub-Sindhu. Then Sindhu Mahasagar. And this is the land from which all these ideas have originated, and that's also something which I made it very clear. And now my mission, as I have always been saying, is impeccable wisdom, impeccable wisdom, impeccable wisdom. Akhandata, 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 nothing other than that. It's a core value of the perfect object of the universe which I am going to talk about it. I am not going to talk about periphery at all, because at periphery relative world comes, and then it's difficult to understand relative world to the relative world because there will be a confusion. But relative world can be understood easily only with impeccable wisdom. That's the reason my focus is on impeccable wisdom, knowing which everything is perfectly known. And that is what the world needs, a syllabus of every subject with impeccable wisdom. My greatest discovery is Divyang, the mathematical design which was revealed for the first time in 2014 and 2015 only. No one before has ever done that. This is a perfect divine design with which a perfect object of the entire universe, whether it is spiral galaxy, whether it is solar system, human body, or even DNA, or for that matter, sodium and chloride itself are designed only with Divyang. And this will replace the whole mathematical design, which is man-made concept, which nobody understands the concept, and they are more confusing, and as a result, physics, chemistry and other sciences also defective because mathematical design itself is defective. But with this we will produce new results which will be impeccable, impeccable, impeccable only, and that's all. Next, as I told you, every language has a problem in expressions, writing and otherwise, and limited number of letters, limited expressions, ambiguity. That's the reason I'm trying to convert everything into graphic presentations. This is a good process which was started long back in Akhand Bharat, Akhand Sindhu, as the symbols of gods and goddesses to start with. Now I'm converting everything into mathematics, and mathematics to symbols. So Mantra Vidya, Yantra Vidya, Tantra Vidya to Ganit Vidya is the focus which I am trying to create a new thing. As a result, ambiguity can be completely eliminated. This is symbol of Divyang. I think I have already explained. There is no need for me to explain every time. It's just, since I started with that, it's just a reminder. We have to convert everything to graphic presentation so that we can translate to other languages without any ambiguity. Now we come back to the fundamental question, which is connected with the chemistry. As I would say, the first greatest element which nature has created is hydrogen, and I call it Aditya, the sun. This is abundant in the universe. The most abundant particle, atom, element in the world is hydrogen only. And it contains 70% of baryonic mass is contained of hydrogen only. It has one proton, one electron, I have already explained. And it's the most basic unit of divine unit is also the fact. It can easily form covalent compounds effortlessly with most non-metallic elements. That is something which every scientist got to know, that the primer is hydrogen, and it is most hydrogen exists in molecular form and also plays very important role acid-base balance, and I've explained the beauty of hydrogen in many of my videos, but every time just trying to show the integration with hydrogen as the first element in methane itself. It is a part of methane. There are 4 hydrogen elements along with the carbon 1 which form methane. Second, for this I am talking about, since I am talking about methane, I am bringing only carbon, which is 4th greatest element. Second and third I have omitted. Second, of course, is helium. Third is oxygen. But fourth is carbon, and that has got 6 protons, 6 neutrons and etc. But oxygen comes before carbon because element of Agni is absolutely essential for everything. So it had to become precedence to carbon. But carbon is almost contain 18.5% of the human body's mass. It is essential for all the biological life, and there cannot be life without carbon as far as biology is concerned. And it is an integral part of methane on one side. It's also part of carbon dioxide. It is also part of this. And at this juncture, let me also remind, this is one thing which I think very important, closely related to Lord Shiva. When we think of Lord Shiva, ever since I know, everybody puts burnt carbon on the face as a vibhuti. I always wondered why they were doing it. Now I know it's a wood which has been burnt, and the ash which is left is a burnt carbon, and that reflects, because everything in the universe is created with carbon, sustained by carbon, and dissolves into carbon. Those are the qualities of Lord Shiva itself. He is the Lord of dissolution and regeneration. And when resolution and regeneration is carbon, I think that makes a sense to me. Then, technically speaking, carbon is associated with Lord Shiva. Hydrogen is with Surya, and O is with Agni. These are the important aspects. Now come to the question of formation of methane. As that you can see in the picture very clearly, is the first chemical reaction in the nature which took place in the universe. And I make it very clear because hydrogen 4 from one carbon which fall in the periodic table before oxygen comes. So I can easily say first chemical reaction in the nature is carbon plus 4 hydrogen to methane. It has a power of 10. That means it also shows development at 10 stages development of Divyank is incorporated in this and water both. So two basic molecules which nature designed, one as a gas as a methane and water as a universal solvent, and both have the power of 10. And that's why these two become very important to start with. Lord Indra is water. With the rain whole thing came down, and so was methane. Let's move on to the next stage. Now, how the carbon dioxide is formed in the nature. I think I've already explained very clearly. Methane, one molecule, plus 2 molecules of oxygen, when they unite together to form 1 molecule of carbon dioxide plus 2 molecules of water. In my last video, I made it very clear that oxygen comes from water and carbohydrate comes from carbon dioxide. Similarly, methane is converted into carbon dioxide, oxygen is converted into this, and exchange with it is only because of hydrogen. Hydrogen which is there in methane goes to oxygen, becomes water, where oxygen comes along with the carbon to become carbon dioxide. This is a chemical reaction which child should see and see how beautiful is the design, because there is a consistency in every stage. And I have shown in my last Kapil Vriksha itself that oxygen is from water and carbohydrate from carbon dioxide, and vice versa. That's one part. So from that, but what is more important in carbon dioxide is it has got a power of 22 protons, 1 carbon 6 and 2 oxygen 16, equivalent to 22. That's the first part of Divyank. Again, we are coming back to Divyank. And I'm trying to bring Divyank and explaining A to Z so that you remember Divyank and you see the reflection of that in everything in the universe. Then you will have a consistency. If you don't have a Divyank and all the formulas of the world do not give you that impeccable wisdom. That's the reason I'm talking about. It is a mere coincidence, it's a divine design. And I'm glad that I was directly and indirectly instrumental in recognizing, conceiving and revealing Divyank in 2014-15 to the world as it is. I think that can change the entire education system with the divine mathematics, divine physics, divine chemistry, divine biology and divine everything. World needs it. But at this juncture, let me also tell you, there are inner planets which are called between Sun and asteroid belt. Sun is the source of energy for us. Asteroid belt is a broken down messages which divide inner planets from outer planets. Let's not talk of the outer planets which are not solid. But inner planets are solid. But what is important is Mercury, Venus, Earth and whereas Mars had 97% carbon dioxide to start with. That's the reason I have come, because if you are looking at universal consciousness of Divyank 22 by 21 as a Brahma, 10 stages of Vishnu and development, that is one part. But here it was carbon dioxide of 97% of the earth to start with when it came down. That's one thing which I am making it very clear. Earth had 97% to start with before plant kingdom came to play a role. And that I have explained in my last video. When plants came, they used of carbon dioxide plus oxygen which was there in the universe to start with and converted whole thing to carbohydrates and water. And then oxygen was given to the world as such from this particular combination as such. Let's say, and as a result over a period 97% carbon dioxide got converted into 21% oxygen. Now is that 20% oxygen and 22% protons carbon dioxide? It means no, this is also Divyank. But remaining 78% is nitrogen. Nitrogen is produced by adding hydrogen to carbon and converting into nitrogen for the next stage of producing amino acids and proteins. Once you understand that this is natural reaction of hydrogen with carbon to produce nitrogen between carbon and oxygen, which becomes the next most important part, which is absolutely essential for formation of amino acids, proteins, nucleic acids and energy molecules thereafter. Of course, after nitrogen, it is phosphorus which is added as a fifth element to create energy molecules and DNA. If you have that kind of knowledge, you will have absolutely no difficulty in comprehending impeccable wisdom without any deficiency whatsoever. And my desire is we should be like a flow chart, which is like a picture unfolds. As nature had done it, we should do that. Whereas the books available are so sectarian, you don't even see the wisdom in that. You got to mug and vomit and you forget it. And I think having seen the world with my eyes, with my Antaratma, first 7 years, I think it helped me to maintain my geniusness or creativity or nature thing very clearly. And that is the reason I keep saying, first 7 years, do not expose child to anything which is unnatural, defective. Now that people want the children, I would suggest whatever videos I am making, whatever the books I am writing with this kind of impeccable wisdom, expose them to this. They would understand and appreciate my work 1,000 times better than the adult who have to unlearn many things which they enforce into the brain. But give this wisdom to the children first 7 years and take it from me. They'll become greatest genius and unite the whole world with impeccable wisdom, love, conscientiousness and do everything good for the world in every form. We need this wisdom for every child within 7 years itself. And then you see the world will transfer into something never heard. It will return of Satyayug once again. That's the reason I'm talking about it so vehemently, so powerfully, because we need to change to unite humanity as one. Let us not divide humanity in any religion which is dividing. And for that matter, whether it's religions, languages, concepts, or otherwise. We need to rise to the level of universal consciousness, have only one thing called spiritual science of 100% truth, and that's it. Now come to the question of the periodic table. As I know, is a perfect design of the divine nature. All the scientists of the world who have created over a periodic table, as you can see, is phenomenal. I have explained that if you see the left side, the period, there are only 7. That shows how 1 is converted into 7. Then on the upper side you see 18. That shows Adi Parashakti has gotten 18 electrons from which all the 3 concepts have originated. That's one part. But when it comes to Trinity, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, or Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahakali, similarly elemental level or atomic level, there are 3 things which stand out. One is hydrogen, another is carbon, third is oxygen. These are the 3 which are basic elements. And of course, helium-4 is an indwelling soul or kundalini. Let's leave it at that. But 3 inorganic molecules which play a very important role to start with in the divine chemistry. 1, methane, second, water. These 2 are one. Water was formed first and then was methane formed. But both have the power of 10. Then carbon dioxide, which has the power of 22, is again Divyank alone. Now from that, let's move on to understand this concept little more in detail. Now we are going to, it has come down from top, which I have explained to Kapil Vriksha. I have explained, having got everything with the rain coming to earth, from mountains flowing into Sagar or Samundar, and Samundar Manthan are churning a primordial ocean which came. And that is where all the gods and asuras, everybody wanted to work together to get Amrit, and which I call water, from this. But in the process, and they started churning many things. Many things emerged. Amrit was one, which was the prime interest, agree. But other things which appeared, as I told you in the last one, it was Kapil Vriksha, that plant kingdom. But the next one, let's see. In this particular picture, I have already shown there is Kamadhenu right on left side, the second on the top. You can see the cow, and that is Kamadhenu. That's it. And you have seen the picture as I've shown with all the goddesses in the very first picture itself of Kamadhenu. I mean, everything is there within her, whole knowledge is there. It is considered sacred in India. We have worshipped cows as a goddess who can give us everything. You are going to see a glimpse of it, why that is perfect. For that matter, cow milk is next only to mother's milk. No other milk is half as good, particularly the one with Kamadhenu, the Indian native cow, is phenomenal. You are going to see that. Now come to the picture of this, which I call Kamadhenu, which I had done earlier. It is auspicious Indian divine cow is what it is. But in this picture, I have not used methane, carbon dioxide, etc., which I have done in the beginning one. But here I brought sun and earth, and which Kamadhenu is. It's another way of expressing that how sun god, photosynthesis, helps plant formation of grass and fruits, vegetable plant kingdom on earth, and how that is eaten by this is another reflection of nature's divine design. Now let's say the story of that. As I told you very clearly, Kamadhenu means the giver of needs. Kama, all the desires what are required, Dhenu is giving. It's given to give us what is required for us as far as living consciousness. First thing which was designed for human being was mother's milk. For the 6 months, child should live only on mother's milk. First 9 months of gestation, the child grows only on mother's energy, not anything from outside. It comes from placenta to the child for 9 months, and next thing, a child should be given mother's milk for 6 months without any deficiency. Longer the better. But if need to be replaced after 6 months, go back to Kamadhenu milk, not any other form. So it is next only to the mother's milk to give freedom from anything other than Kamadhenu milk, which is ideal to give everything to the child. What is that? We are going to talk about it. And it is also said, when Kamadhenu was given to Brahmarishi Vishishth, who had an ashram, all the requirement of the ashram could be used only by Kamadhenu. This is what graphics talks about it, or the mythology talks about it, or the story of Sagar Manthan or Samudra Manthan talks about it. That's one part. Then there is a story about Maharishi Vishishth, jealousy, and nothing. I'm not getting into that because that is not my way of criticizing. This is story, but I'm not into that. But Kamadhenu has given all what is required is one part. Let's leave it at that. So I still believe it's a good example of spiritual science, not a story or mythology as such. Now, first thing which comes very clearly to my mind when I think of cow dung is the one which is made into molds for energy. You can see Indian stove, homemade neural site, and cow dung stove are used to make fuel. You can see very clearly. But what is unique in that is the Kamadhenu cow dung produces 61.8034 methane only, which burns. This is why I use Kamadhenu and relate it with methane. And that is what I want to prove it. Let's talk of divine mathematics based on Divyank, the way science has spoken about it. I do not want to depend on philosophy. Anything which is scientifically proven by others with Divyank is what I am talking about. Next question which comes to my mind is spiritual science or Kamadhenu. As you can see, right on top on methane, and I have put a picture in the middle. Methane plus oxygen give you carbon dioxide and water. Carbon dioxide and water is what Kapil Vriksha came down, and that having come down to the whole thing, you can see the plant, grass, which cow eats. You can see the Kapil Vriksha converting carbon dioxide and water into starch, or you say grass, which is cellulose. Now very clearly, this is cellulose. The cellulose this cow can take, because cow is herbivorous, can take and digest, unlike human being. We cannot take grass, they take it. But they convert cellulose into manure form, and when it comes down, it is methane by and large, you can see it. And that is being put into biogas generator, this, and how through anaerobic process, decomposition releases methane. Now in this stage, methane is released through anaerobic thing and produced into a gas as such of methane. And how that finally gets converted, used up, is again methane plus oxygen into carbon dioxide. As a result, the cycle of carbon dioxide water which came from top is converted to oxygen, carbohydrate, and to maintain the further function, how human cells are able to convert carbohydrate plus oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and they maintain, and that is what I spoke of in Kapil Vriksha also. Kapil Vriksha brings the methane and this, and they use it, they give carbohydrate plus oxygen in human cells and produce carbon dioxide and water. Now you see the sequence, how beautiful is interconnected. And that's one thing which it makes it spiritual science by and large. And this is a picture not drawn by me. It's drawn by the scientist. I have only replaced the picture of a cow by this particular picture to show I'm talking about Kamadhenu, Indian cow. But other cows also produce the same thing as methane only. Now, as I told you this, there is also anaerobic formation of methane, which I talked about it, and is found semi-continuous anaerobic digester, which you have seen in this picture. Cow dung was reported to produce 77.3% liters per kilogram of biogas with a methane percentage of 57.23. This is their finding that methane was 57.23, but my opinion is ideal percentage is 61.8034, and I stick to that because it makes more sense to me, because it gives a divine mathematics, because I see that happening. But of course, as science is concerned, there are certain variation based on their observation which could change from place to place. But had they used it for Indian cows, cow dung, they would have got 60.8034. But other cows, other animals may not give you that kind of thing. But again, it is cellulose used by other animals in other part could be less. But Indian cow, Kamadhenu, it is 61.80. That is my point of understanding. And I think I leave it as an idea for other scientists to work it out and give to the world in a corrected form. Now there comes a question, iron digester is there in the picture, pre-digesting state, anaerobic digester, and that impurity removal, things like that. This is science thing, how agriculture waste, waste food and other biogases which are coming, how they put it into that and convert it to anaerobic form into methane biogas, and how it can be used for electricity, how it can be used for thermal, it can be used for fuel, it can be for liquid product as well as solid products. So this is how the science has used this cow dung of animal waste and other things to convert into energy, including electricity or otherwise. This is a picture. It's again from internet, and I think they have done very good work as far as anaerobic digestive system is concerned. I think they have brought my knowledge to the level that I can talk this. It makes a lot of sense. Let's now move on to the next stage. Next, let's say A2 is a milk of Kamadhenu, which is different from A1. There are two types of milks, A1 and A2. A2 is the milk of Kamadhenu, which is like beneficial as a mother's milk. I have very clearly, I told you before, I have told you it's second only to mother's milk. Love of Kamadhenu is basically for ashram because everybody is given milk which is as good as a mother's milk, which is designed by nature for a new child itself. And this process of conversion of glucose into 6-phosphate and other things, I have put it, and how this converts into lactose and how things go. I am not going into details of this. You can read it at leisure and understand how glucose is converted by hexokinase into glucose 6-phosphate. And of course, as I have shown in my last thing, how glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate and then fructose 6-phosphate. And I make it very clear, whether it's glucose or fructose, both are important. For me, a combination of sucrose, which is glucose and fructose combination, is better than refined sugar at all. That's also make clear. Let it be sucrose, which has glucose plus fructose, is a fantastic combination for human beings as such. And what are things produced in the process given this picture? Let's leave it at that. You can read it at leisure later to understand how ATP is converted, used for ADP, what process goes. I have shown in last. Now you will have to refer back to many of my videos to finally get a picture in your brain and reproduce that in the form you think is the best as a symbolic representation. Graphic presentation is more important than anything else. And that sequence should be as clear as that what the scientists are trying to do. So I am talking about the science beauty is, it's a symbolic representation. This is beautiful symbolic representation of glucose getting converted into lactose. Left side and top is glucose 6-phosphate, and right at the bottom you can say lactose, and that is cow's milk of A2 size. Now come to the question, the milk of mother does produce colostrum, but cow's milk colostrum is really good, which is produced first 2-3 days, and is very beneficial for allergies and immunities by and large. It boosts metabolic and energy, it reduces infection and inflammation, it strengthens the digestive system, it reduces case of cancers and other things as a treatment. And that state of colostrum which is produced in 3 days, 5 days, 6 days and 25 days, you can see the colors, you can see the concentration, you can see the beauty by and large. So colostrum of Kamadhenu is high class for almost overmed. Now if you let the child have mother's milk and then give Kamadhenu milk the child would have very good immunity, fantastic life for years together. No wonder in India is a mother feed the child for many years. And those children are much more healthier than one who are put on other forms of dabba milk. Let me put it, box treated is not as good as mother's milk or Kamadhenu milk. Now come to the next question, something which is very important. Prebiotic and probiotic is a curd made from Kamadhenu tree. And as far as I am concerned, I take milk and curd made out of Indian cow only. I do not use for anything. It is very good probiotic and prebiotic thing, enhances digestive system very clearly. And after antibiotics and infections, it is always to give curd from Kamadhenu is much better, and it's got excellent for speech because there is a tryptophan and serotonin produced from cow's milk better. Tryptophan is one thing, how it gets converted into 5-hydroxytrypsin, and that is serotonin and is relaxing on the whole. Look at the whole physical, emotional, mental and of course pharmaceutical benefits of the cow itself. It's amazing. Now I am going to show you something, how paneer is made, cottage cheese is made from protein concentration. Before, you can see on the left side how it's formed and how it is formed after being converted into curd by adding, maybe you can say, citric acid or lemon as such. And that is very healthy by and large. In India, this is prime interest all over north as least, if not in south. South does not use paneer as much as the north uses it. And in east it is much more. West also is quite high. And this is very important for spiritual evolution by and large by paneer. It gives you the power of perfect amino acids. Now, many people ask me, why do I concentrate on sattvic pure vegetarian diet, which is deficient in proteins, whereas animal protein, but I make it very clear. I do not take non-vegetarian and I have power much better than the muscle powers of the people eating proteins. And that is primarily because I concentrate on curd, I concentrate on paneer, I concentrate on grains and other things which have lot amount of lipid content along with the protein content. If you are choosy like rajmas, Bengal grams and things like that, they're full of proteins of excellence. They'll keep your methane level high, choline level high, acetylcholine level high. All the hormones can be kept much better with vegetable proteins, and that's it. And I do not count milk to be a non-vegetarian. I think it's as vegetarian as such. That's also one thing which I make it clear, because it was created by the nature for the consumption of the child itself. So it is meant for human beings' consumption as far as milk is concerned and paneer is concerned or curd is concerned. Now to the question of advantage of A2 milk cow. It has a fantastic effect on integrated health and regeneration, anti-aging and strong teeth, improves muscles and physical strength. I have seen it at 73. My muscle power is as good as when I was 21. Muscles are as powerful and there is no fat in me. And I think I'm living example to show that with vegetarian diet you could do that. And improves the mind strength because it's not contaminated with fear of the animal which is being killed before being used. You are eating along with the fear itself. If you want mind to be pure, strong and intelligent, you got to have a vegetarian diet which is uninfluenced by any fear of the one which is being done. And animal kingdom also. Plant kingdom, it should be used after the whole thing is formed. Premature killing of a plant before fruits or grains is not advisable. Let it grow to size, let it fall by itself. Very moment it falls, you take it up and use it. Don't plug it. And that's something which I make it very clear. And it also can relieve fatigue, stress, skin, and fantastic aura you can see, improves. And I've seen the benefits of these things within me and over a period, and no wonder it has helped me to strengthen my spiritual integration and give the world Divyang for the first time in the history of mankind. And I can tell you, nobody has done that. But I'm not blaming the ancient Indian rishis and Brahmins, they have not done, because they did not have the advantage of the modern technical equipments like the computers, like IBM's SPS version 25 others, which can do the calculation of the kind which I've done. But all is my mental perception. Instrument has only helped me to calculate the last one. But to formation of 1.618034 was done by mentally by me alone. And it is primarily, I make it clear, it is because I'm a pure vegetarian. I do not take anything which is artificial, defective, or otherwise. I think I will be able to get, and that is something which I got it from Kamadhenu milk as such. No wonder I started with water as Amrit, then Kapil Briksh as the conversion of methane and oxygen into carbohydrate and to plant kingdom as such, and then replacement of mother's milk by Kamadhenu, I think the third natural process. I think now we can move on step by step to the next stage, which shows us how beautiful is the nature's design if we see nature as it unfolds its secrets. And that's it. Now we have come to that stage. I'm not going to talk about it. I think I've done enough for this. Thank you very much. It was lovely. Thank you.